Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. And for today's podcast episode, I have Charlie with me again. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
And today we are talking about Deadpool 2. We're doing the movie review for Deadpool 2. This is a movie that I've been waiting to review again and everything because I feel like right now is the right time to get a chance to review this film. This movie is just fantastic on all syllables. I would never believe that a sequel can actually be just as good as the original film. And of course, with that being said, you have to kind of expect the movie to be good because Ryan Reynolds was actually the one person to have some control over this film, just like he did with the first film. The PR department was very good whenever they were out there promoting this film and trying to get everybody to watch the second film. This movie had a budget of $110 million and made $785.8 million. And not to mention the fact that this had a lot of stuff going into it. You had a stunt person that wound up dying on the set of this movie. You also had two different versions of the script. You have a PG-13 version, and then you also have a rated R version of it and stuff like that, and of course the unrated version as well. So that's everything about Deadpool 2. So when this movie first starts up and everything, I definitely love how they play into it, where you have Deadpool on top of a building, and he's about to take down some criminals, and then all of a sudden he goes busting through the window and everything after he says something in Japanese. And then the funny thing is, then all of a sudden you hear Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 playing. And then I liked how he breaks into it. He goes, "This is a family movie. Deadpool is a family movie." And, I definitely liked how they played into that part. And then also, too, also liked how he was also joking around with the fact that about the babysitter bit was actually pretty funny. What about you, though? What is some of the stuff that grabbed you at the first half of the film?
Well, the big thing you forgot in the beginning is him on top of the oil ranks.
That's what I was talking.
No, you jumped past that. So briefly, he was on top of the the oil things, and you're like, okay, something happened. And then he flicks the match, like the lighted cigarette into the tanks, and he blows up. And he starts out with the line, "Fuck Wolverine." The Harry had to ride my hairy coattails with the R rating, and then he ups the ante and dying. What a dick! Guess what, Wolverine? I'm dying on this one too. So you see his whole body explodes, and you see his head talking. So it's a classic Deadpool. Then you get into the whole 9 to 5 sequence, which like I said, I love this movie. I like this one so much better than the first one, because and then you got a whole new director, and hence the little opening credits where they tease he's one of the guys that killed John Wick's dog. This is David Leitch. He's a big action guy, and he's gotten a lot of big roles since John Wick. So new director. You still have Ryan Reynolds, but the whole opening was hilarious. And then the unrated version is the best version of it because it extends the whole opening sequence. Like, he gets in there after he says something in Spanish, of "Donde está la biblioteca," which means I don't bargain. I was like, I don't bargain, pumpkin fucker, or whatever. He jumps in and he gets shot. Then he jumps over the table, and he looks like he's dead. Then he wakes up. He's like, "Shh, you're not going to die, but this will kill you." Then he goes in there, and the whole opening sequence is way more violent. Like, he's shooting people in the face. So what the version you got in theaters is completely different than what you got on the unrated version. And then he's chopping off that, and then he breaks out into the thing in Sicily where he wakes up and whoa, you don't want to get. He gets out of the casket. You don't want to wake up from that. You don't want to go in there. Then he does a giant a flying jump and shoots the guy in the head. Then it goes in a longer part of the strip club sequence, which was hilarious. Him doing on the stripper pole, and then him killing more people. And like I said, the whole opening is a lot longer. And then the part that's the most long, or the longest, is the sequence of him taking up Japanese guys in the bathtubs. And they changed, the music has changed from that point on, where he's slicing people and all that stuff, and then blood in the eye. So it adds more to that whole sequence. there's probably another part in it that I forgot, and then the whole lines are different. Like there are a lot more like vulgar lines from that on, and then it goes to the whole sequence of him like, yep, yeah, and you see like, yeah, this movie is like, he's like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't bring your kids movie, but you should have, because this is a family movie.
Family movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look good, that guy's on fire. That's not CGI. He's on fire, and then the camera stops, or as soon as he's about to, he slices some guy with the chainsaw. I mean, I love the opening.
Me too. And then
beautiful.
Another thing too that I forgot to mention was the wind up thing that you have of Wolverine, where he presses the wood into his
stomach,
and then like Wolverine just spins around, and then that's whenever the tanks winds up blowing up inside his apartment. That's another thing that I liked. But also too, while he's also killing everybody, he has stilettos on, and everything, acting like a stripper with his Deadpool mask on, and also too having a blonde hair like Dolly Parton, which makes me laugh my ass off in that opening scene. And then also too, the other thing though, you mentioned the whole entire thing where the Japanese people are inside that sauna, and everything too, and you know he winds up taking the towel off this one Japanese guy, slaps him upside the ass with it, and then also too slices his stomach open and everything. And then it gets in his eye. He goes, "My eyes."
He's giving the guy a wedgie while he's like what, giving the guy a wedgie with it or whatever, and then smacking the other guy in the face with it. Like, I mean, if there's a version to watch Deadpool 2, watch the unrated one, because there's so much stuff that they add into it. It doesn't make it overly long. And the stuff that it's more the transitions, but it adds so much more to this movie. There's so much that's in the unrated version. That's the version to watch. The theatrical version is fantastic. It's the unrated one that just add more of the classic Deadpool hilariousness to it. And then you have the whole Dopender really wants to become a killer, and he's quoting, he's like, I want to be your Kirsten Dunst to your Tom Cruise from Interview of a Vampire, and Deadpool was like, let's never speak of this again.
Then also too, this is also another thing that he does though too. This is here's the thing. I always thought him and Vanessa always had a good dynamic together.
And
everything too, to where she wasn't in Deadpool 1 that long, but for the moments that she was there, the chemistry works. And then it makes you feel that emotional attachment to the character on what happens to her in the second film, which, you know, then those people wind up coming over to Wade's apartment and everything, and then they start attacking them. And then Wade winds up, he winds up killing them all, but at the same time, that's when, of course, when Vanessa actually dies.
The thing about the sauna I want to mention in the unrated version, he's got 4 swords stuck in him. Like, the Japanese guys stick 4 swords in him. And he's like, what? So he takes out each sword and kills the guys with their own swords, which I thought that was hilarious. Like, this classic Deadpool. I'm like, what the hell? Like, he just takes out one sword, kills one dude. Kills out another guy with another sword. Like, he takes out each one of his swords that they stabbed him with and they left in him. I mean, I just had to mention that because I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he did that. He got stabbed 4 times with a sword.
Yeah, he really got what was coming. I'll tell you that.
And then that whole sequence with Vanessa. But Vanessa was in Deadpool 1 much longer than she was in this one, to be honest.
True, that's very true. She was, but you know, she did get a lot more scenes in the first one compared to this one. But also too, she also got kidnapped in the first one as well. That's why I was saying that, you know, she wasn't on there very long compared to this one. But you know, but I made us care about her character even more. Going into this film.
I mean, it's semantics, I guess. I mean, I think it was only maybe like a couple minutes she wasn't in it, like because of the flashbacks. But yeah, either way, she was in it in the first one much longer than this one. So yeah, they pretty much kill her off, and then Wade like goes in and he does his classic Wade death, grabbing the guy and getting run over by a car. Then they have the opening credit sequence. I thought this was hysterical.
Yeah, and then also too, he's also going through depression because of the loss of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But what makes it funny though is he goes into the cage with the bear.
Yeah.
He goes, "Good thing I wore my blood pants," and
Yeah.
and jumps into the bear cage and everything at the zoo, and then gets torn apart. And if you think about it though, it kind of has like the Bill Murray movie Groundhog's Day, where he's reliving the same thing over and over again. He's trying to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what Deadpool is kind of doing, is just killing himself, wanting to off himself, but he can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's this is actually one of my favorites. And of course, you know, after that winds up happening, he attempts, like you said, 6 weeks later, he winds up blowing himself up.
Yeah.
And then of course, Wade has a vision of Vanessa in the afterlife.
Yeah.
But Wade winds up remains alive due to the healing abilities in his body, and is put back together by Colossus. Wade is left with only a skee ball token and an anniversary gift as a final memento of Vanessa.
Yeah.
But another thing though too, I love how they go into it where Wade is basically trying to figure out what he's trying to do with himself, but also too, that vision that he had of Vanessa, she said, "Don't forget the boy," and he's over there going, "What boy?" And stuff. Remember, it was like that quick vision.
Later on, like the first vision is like your heart's not in the right place.
Right.
This like the whole about like what about the boy, the kid?
Yeah.
That was until after the whole prison sequence. Like so, that one was a little bit like that vision was much later. The first one was like your heart's just not in the right place, and that's after he blew himself up.
Right, and then after that, this is another thing though too. Like I said, then he's of course recovering at the X Mansion. Wade reluctantly agrees to join the X-Men, but I love how he goes into Professor Xavier's office and starts goofing around with the wheelchair.
Yeah.
And everything too, just going in the electric wheelchair, just wheeling himself around, crashing into things in the mansion, and things like that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I do want to go back to the opening credits, like the role thing about kind of like them, like kind of like what they did in Deadpool 1. I do want to focus on that for a little bit because there's a lot of fun pieces in it, and we kind of just glanced over. So again, I thought that was hilarious. Like the opening credits, like wait, the producers they did what? They killed her off. I thought that was that was a nice one-off of what they did in the first one about God's perfect idiot. Like I thought that part was hysterical, but the song is just another like it's just it wouldn't be Deadpool if you didn't take a shot at the MCU. You remember the name of the song, right?
I can't remember. Tell me the song again.
Celine Dion's Ashes.
Yeah, Ashes. Yeah, I remember that.
They're taking a shot at MCU because this came out after Infinity Wars. How everybody turned to ash.
Right.
That's what the reason for the song. They're making fun of the MCU with the Ashes song.
Right, and then it's supposed to be like this little memento thing that's going on with Deadpool dancing around and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and Celine Dion. Right.
Yeah, it's also making fun of the James Bond theme about the whole like how everything's forming into the bullet. Him with doing the flash dance with the bullet casings. Like, I mean, I thought that part was funny, and that's one of the posters I have is him with the bullet casings and stuff. Again, I thought that credit sequence was hilarious, and the ending was directed by one of the guys that killed John Wick's dog. Like, I mean, this is like the opening credits was a perfect Deadpool, but I just thought the little shade at the MCU since Infinity Wars just came out and how everybody turned to ash, the song Ashes. Like, I thought that this was just a clever little shade at the MCU. It's like, hey, nobody's turning to ash in this one.
No. Just getting blown up a bunch of times. That's it.
Yeah, and then the whole like him trying to kill himself, like that whole conversation with like him, like the whole joking, taking a shot at Frozen. Wait a minute, isn't the song you want to build a snowman just as like similar as Papa Can You Hear Me from Yeno? Like it, I think Papa, Frozen ripped off that song.
Yeah, Papa, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's like, can you want to build a snowman? Yeah, and then Buck's one line, like, Jesus, Buck, we're not going to get you any more lines. So, and then he shows back up at Al's place, and then he opens up the little crate, and you see the cocaine. this was a reference to the first movie. I've hit up like 17 kilos of cocaine in this apartment right next to the cure for blindness. You see him get the cocaine, and then right next to is a book that says cure for blindness. So this is a nice little shade from the first movie. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. They referenced the first movie, and then him doing the LeBron James with the cocaine. That was this classic DeadPool. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do something terrible, and then him like, what are you, superhero? Yeah, I'm Captain Delicious Pants. And he jumps in, and the little girl gets blood on her eye, and then you see him on top of this giant building, drinking bleach. Kind of looked like Ajax for a second there, but he was drinking bleach, and he's wearing that Hawaiian shirt or whatever, and he dies supposedly. She's like, "Oh my god, you're alive!" He's like, "Oh my god, you got out of the house in that shirt." Yeah, that's what it really says. And then, that's what it really says. And then I don't know if there was another thing that he did to kill himself, but he's like, "Yep, now you're all caught up." And then he blows himself up. But back into the X mansion, I thought it was funny. He's him talking about, Jesus, you're alone again. Like, come on, throw us a bone, 20th Century Fox. Give us some other X-Men. And this, like, in the timeline, I think this movie is set after Dark Phoenix. The reason is because the people that they show you in the room briefly, you don't see Mystique. No. By the way, I'm about to spoil Dark Phoenix, so don't avert your ears. You don't see Mystique, and you don't see Jean Grey. You see everybody else. You see Beast, you see Storm, you see Charles Xavier, and I believe you see I think you might see Nightcrawler. I think then there's one, and then of course Cyclops. And I think you see the guy with the angel character.
Yeah, Angel. Yeah. Archangel, yeah.
You see all those in the room right next to DeadPool saying, throw us a bone, Steve. So you got all these people, and they're the same actors that portrayed them in the other movies. So you got James McAvoy, Ty Sheridan, the other characters. So it's like, I thought that was a little kind of funny shade that they finally gave them some more X-Men. But they immediately shut the door. But him just going around the house, that, and then the shots that he keeps taking at Negasonic with like her with the shorter haircut, and then him being all nice and like my labeling everything, and then him creating his own soap for Colossus, and him creating his own. Oh, don't worry, it works. He's got to pump it a few times.
Then, of course, that's when he decides he's going to try and join the X-Men because of what Colossus says. You wake up a hero. You dress up as a hero. You brush your teeth as a hero. And so, I love how they throw in the rookie reference where he's just like 0-0 on the back of his jersey.
Yeah.
To show that he's a rookie and working with the X-Men.
Yeah.
So I thought that was hilarious.
And like I said, the other thing with the unrated does, it fills in other scenes. Like, you end up like, how did Russell get to this situation? Well, the unrated movie shows Russell getting driven to the mansion, like the mansion where the pedophiles are. And then you see him getting like shocked. Like, so he's wondering about how he gets the vein on his neck. It goes into more filler how maybe like you've seen what the organization is that Russell wants to kill and all that stuff. You get more in depth in the unrated version, and he goes more into that. And then right when that happens, then we have the Vision. Then you go right to Cable, and Cable shows up. And Cable was just awesome. I thought Josh Brolin was perfect casting for Cable.
Same. I really liked how he brought Cable out and everything. I thought it was really good. And then, of course, he's trying to attack Russell and everything inside that place and everything over at at the Mutant Re-Education Center.
Yeah, well, the Icebox. And then, because Cable attacks them at the Icebox.
Right. Cable storms the Icebox, right. Yeah. Then, of course, he breaks in the ensuing the melee attempts to defend Russell. After Cable takes Vanessa's token, Wade forces himself and Cable out of the prison.
Yeah. I thought, like I said, to go back to the training sequence, that was funny about Wade just being boastful that he is, and then he gets shocked, and then like shot by a fire fist. He's like, really, fire fist? Like he's like, shut it! I'm gonna kill Justin Bieber over there. He's like, ha! Called you Justin Bieber.
There's also another scene that I like though. Whenever he goes busting through the orphanage and everything, through that, and then he signs the cereal box as Ryan Reynolds.
Yes,
because he's eating because there's this kid that's eating cereal. He goes, right, and he's just going on ahead, signs the box, puts it back down, and then he walks out the place and everything. I thought that was really cool.
It was funny because it was Hugh Jackman's face on it, so it's the constant shade between him, the funny little thing that the two of them have riffing on each other, and then he does the backflip and he throws the sword at the blunt end of the sword into Russell. He's like, "Thank you," and then he's like, "Oh," he's like, "4," and he pretty much rubs Colossus' nose in the whole 4 or 5 moments, and he pulls out his gun and he kills the 2 pedophiles. It's like, who are these guys? Like, what, this guy, Jared Kushner? Like the pedophile guys. Like, it was hilarious. And then he kills them. So that's how Wade and them end up in the icebox, and we find out about the little necklace thing that they got. It controls their power. So Wade gets it. That means Wade doesn't have powers. So essentially his cancer's taken over. So he's pretty much on death row in a sense. So
then Russell keeps on wanting to break out, making a shank. And everything. He puts it up his ass and everything to get it out. Because I don't even want to know where you put that, where you got that out of, is what Wade winds up telling him. Yeah. And then, of course, we also see this other little thing inside the prison where we actually see this big, huge gate. Mm-hmm. And we already know who's actually in that gate. It's Juggernaut. Yeah. And everything. But we don't actually get to see what he looks like until like later on. But still. It made me excited in that moment when I saw it in theaters and everything.
I think the moment for me that I liked was when Cable first got to the Earth and you see these 2 truckers, they're speaking with each other, like there's and then give you like that. One of the guys is Alan Tudyk, the guy on the right, that was Alan Tudyk, is one of the truckers, and the fat guy on the left in the movie, that's Matt Damon. Matt Damon's in this movie, and the whole conversation's about toilet paper. The unrated version enhances it so much, and it's just like I was like, oh my god, it's like I said, I can't keep bringing it up and enough. The unrated version is so much funnier than the original because you get and he's going out talking about toilet paper. It's like but Matt Damon isn't credited as Matt Damon. He's credited as a character he played in The Talented Mr. Ripley. So if you're wondering, like, Matt Damon's not listed, he's in it. You just gotta like he plays another character, a pseudonym, which he played in The Talented Mr. So anyway, his whole conversation is talking. And I was like, and like Alan Tudy's like, wait, what the hell are you going on about, dude? I'm talking about what if you wake up and you got shit on your face, you got shit on your nose and shit in your beard. What are you gonna do to wipe that stuff out? I'm like you can't use toilet paper because it's all dry. So you just gotta soak that up, and you still have that thing for 10 minutes. You know, like it's like so. Toilet paper is like the appetizer. The entree here is Huggies wet wipes. Wet wipes, and he's talking about you got to use those first, toilet paper then, and then afterwards, and then that's when Kate was like, "What year is it?" And you see Matt Damon, this kid. I think in the theatrical version, he gets this punch. He just gets sucker punched in the face. This one, they both get tasered. And then it goes and you see Cable stealing a bunch of guns. Like at a gun store, so I thought that was a nice little homage to Commando. And you're on here because like there's a sequence where he's creating the weapon, and then you see how did he get all those guns? Well, the unrated version or extended version, and shows you how he gets those guns. Him creating that weapon is sick. Like
that thing was badass.
Like I'm pretty sure each dial does a certain thing. Because he's shooting normal bullets out of it, then it's lasers, something. So each one, I mean, he made a super weapon out of that, and that thing was awesome. Then I did love the whole prison break-in sequence where Cable's in there kicking ass, and then Wade's doing all the funny jokes, and then he snaps his neck, and then the thing comes off like, oh, I got powers again, yay me! Like, thank you, Fox, or whatever. And then he's like, who are you? I'm Batman.
then as he's getting his ass kicked, as Wade's getting his ass kicked and everything by Cable, ooh, so dark. You must be from the DC universe.
Yeah. Wait, you're from the future, right? I got 3 questions. 1, is dubstep still a thing? 2, forgot what the second thing was. But the third was, will Depender ever find love? Or I forgot what the second thing is. And then the 2 of them are fighting with each other. He's like, why do you care? He's like, I don't give a F about the kid. And then Russell, of course, hears this, so he runs away. Wade pulls a pin out of his grenade, and they both go flying. Then you have the sound effect of Ryan Reynolds saying, well, in every movie, there's a part in the movie where the hero hits rock bottom. Well, in Cool Runnings is when John Candy lost his prized possession bobsled. And Human Centipede is one of those people signed up to be in that movie. And rock bottom, well, this is me hitting rock meets bottom. I mean, Wade gets, I mean, like I said, I mean, he got pretty effed up in the first movie. This one, he's like, his body went through a lot, and I was like, how they filmed it, I'm like very interested in how they, like, did they use dummies or stuff, or when they hit the head effects? Because Wade hits his head a lot in this movie.
He does hit his head a lot in it, and then also too, we also see him making fun of Cable's fanny pack. He goes, "Ooh, a fanny pack! I haven't seen that since 1990, never."
Yep.
And stuff like that. I thought that was really good. That was a clever little joke. Then, of course, this is also too, after that, that's when Vanessa ends up having that conversation with Vanessa, and she convinces Wade to go ahead and help Russell.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Wade winds up organizing a team called the X-Force to break Russell out of the present transfer convoy, which I thought the convoy stunts was really good.
Yeah. I love the meetup of the team. I thought that was hysterical. Like we need somebody to carry the franchise for 10 to 12 years and stuff. So meeting every person was hilarious. So like Bedlam, oh, what, you're like Dave Matthews, like that. I do want to give you a little shout out, John. So anyway, you remember the guy that played I remember Shatterstar, the Asian guy? That is Cole from Mortal Kombat.
Wow. Okay, I had no idea.
Louis Tan, I believe, is the guy that played Shatterstar, the one that says, I'm better at you than everything, like at everything. Right. So I want to go to I want to be in charge. I want to be in an area where a bunch of idiots, they follow me. I'll be their Superman. Isn't that Canada? You shut your mouth.
And then there's also when he meets Jazzy Beats for the first time, which is also
Domino.
And he goes, and what's your superpower? Luck. Luck is not a superpower. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. Yes, and she makes him say, "Yes, it is." Like, damn it! All right, yay! And then of course, we have Pennywise as the guy that spits atomic vomit out of his mouth.
Yeah, Spell Skarsgård.
Yeah, He spits acid, acidic vomit. Then you have Vanisher. Oh, Vanisher! Yeah, he's running late. That I'll get into that in a sec. But that was funny. And then of course Peter. And Peter's like, oh, I just saw it. I'm like, what superpowers do you have? I have type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Wow. If you find out about a type 3, let us know. But yeah, so Shatterstar, again, I want to mention. If anybody see Mortal Kombat, the main guy Cole, yeah, that's Shatterstar. He does more in Mortal Kombat than he does in this movie. So I'll just put it at that. And then Peter, and then you see Dopender get all pissed off that he doesn't get to be part of the X-Force. And then and how Cable knows about it is because he the location of their plan. He captures Weasel or the T.J. Miller character, and he's like, "Do you know Pain? Well, this tape is pretty hardcore in my hands." He's like, I'm gonna tell you Pain. He's like, I do want to let you know there's a high wind advisory. That has made that whole sequence especially funny because Wade doesn't realize about the wind. And so all of them flying out, the helicopters, like we are, and then we're not X-Men, we're X-Force. Isn't that a little derivative? And he does the Wakanda Forever logo, but no, he's like, no, it's not Wakanda, it's X-Force.
And then that's, of course, when, like you said, he winds up going. Then you see them jump out of the plane and everything, too. And that's when everything starts going awry, where basically you only have Domino that survives the whole entire ordeal. But you have Peter that winds up going into the shredder.
It was the guy that spits the vomit. The vomit guy goes into the shredder. Peter tries to save him, and then the guy's like, "We're X-Force." Then the vomit guy spits he spits the atomic bomb on Peter, so Peter loses his arms. So Peter practically dies from that.
Right.
Bedlam crashes into a bus and instantly dead. Shatterstar goes into helicopter blades because his hair is too long and gets in his face, so he can't control it. So Wade's like, oh, well, I guess I am better than you at something. The best part was the backpack. You see this giant backpack. Wondering who the heck did they get to play Vanisher? Like the backpack crashes into the electricity, and what do you know? Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is Vanisher. To this day, Blake Lively is still pretty pissed off at Ryan Reynolds for not telling me, what? You didn't tell me Brad Pitt was in this movie. Like, that's the banner she did, like, just to bust his balls. So she did not know Brad Pitt was in this movie. And I'm like, that was, like, the moment in the theater. Everybody just erupted laughing. Like, oh, my God, they got Brad Pitt for this movie. Yeah, and then Domino gets there, and you see her luck. Like she's so lucky. Like, how she got away with everything. Like, everything was blown up behind her. This giant fan's about to hit her, and then or this Wade's talking like, well, bad news is everybody's dead. Good news is nobody's gonna be missing Shatterstar.
and then he also goes and says this too. He goes, well, I guess luck is a superpower.
Yeah,
and then the convoy scene is just great. To be honest with you. The stunt work was really good. That was actually one of the biggest things that I really liked. And then, of course, we actually see the reveal of Juggernaut coming out and everything. Yeah. And I was geeked out at that moment because they actually got Juggernaut right for a change. He didn't look like a cheap CGI suit of Rhino from X-Men Last Stand this time. He actually looks like legitimately like Juggernaut. And then I love how Wade just looks at him. He goes, I always wanted to meet you. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he pulls him apart, rips him apart.
That's after the whole truck thing crashes. So the whole, I want to go back to the truck sequence real quick. The caravan. That was an awesome sequence. Like, and then the double entendres by Wade. He's like, where's Cable? He's on top of you. Oh my God, he just ripped you open. Oh, he's coming in from the back. He's inside you. I'm like, do you hear yourself? Oh, sorry. Like, I didn't mean the double entendres. And then he's like, and then so that fight was cool. So the first person Cable kills by pulling the crate off, that's the director. The first person that dies is the director of DeadPool 2. David Leitch was one of the guys in the crate.
That's hilarious.
Spoof there. So that whole sequence is great, and then Wade trying to reenact what Cable did. Domino's luck was just so great, like this that moment. And then when Wade controlling the guy, driving while he's like bent over, so all he's seen is this, he's seen for his ass and stuff to get to the location. The fight sequence is great. Like him making all these references, like, you killed Black Tom, you racist son of a bitch. Black Tom's white. And then I think they kind of like, because he's a big X-Men character, and they just killed him off pretty like just like that. He's like, and then him making a Goonies reference because Brolin was in Goonies, like, take your best shot, One-Eyed Willie. And then of course the bullets going right through him as he's trying to block him. Like, man, you're really fast. And then the whole train crashing sequence was hilarious. And it's like, wow, Domino is really lucky. She lands on a panda bear. Cable, however, is gonna be very at because the way he lands, he puts his hands up like this, gives him a tea bag. when the things like when they're all floating in the air, Deadpool's crotch ends up on Cable's face, and that's why he puts his hands up like he's about to do that to Cable. I thought that was funny, and then of course I'm like, oh my god, Juggernaut, I love you. I'm like, I'm gonna rip you in half now. And you seen him get ripped. Oh, first, before he gets ripped in half, his head is on backwards, so he has to like snap his neck back. Like, ow! Oh my god, that hurts so much. But him getting ripped in half, and Russell making fun of him for like, guess what? He's got and you don't. Legs, and he flips off the camera.
And then at that point, that's also too when we actually get to see how long it takes Wade to actually grow back his legs.
Yes. Well, not just his legs.
Right, everything else.
Yeah, like they definitely enhanced that from the first movie. The first one's just the arm. This one's everything. And I did like the part when Domino, Dom, can you come here and help me out? She's holding him like a backpack.
Like Yoda. Yeah, right.
X-Force. But one part I just remembered, I liked in the bantering in the beginning with Vanessa when the two of them were just talking about like I think they're making Star Wars jokes, and then they're talking about their kids, and then they said, and then he ends up and he makes a reference that pretty much it's like you completely misinterpreted the whole thing about Star Wars and Empire. Like I'm pretty screwing your sister. I'm pretty sure Luke nailed Leia. So he's making a whole joke about the Star Wars. I thought it was pretty funny. He's like, I'm pretty sure Luke nailed her.
But yeah, that was actually funny. And then of course he didn't say something to the effect of, "You're my I'm your Yoda."
Something of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part made me laugh.
Yeah. But I love the whole sister because Luke did kiss his sister in the movie, so and Wade takes it to the next level by saying he nailed her.
Then, of course, that's also too when we also see while he's recovering, Cable offers to work with Wade and Domino to stop Russell from killing the headmaster in the future. Which also the reason why he's doing that too, because that also has the repercussion of Cable losing his family.
Yeah, because of Russell.
Right. And Russell succeeds in killing the headmaster and becomes a serial killer, eventually burning Cable's family alive. Wade accepts on a condition that Cable give him a chance to talk Russell down at the orphanage. They are overpowered by the Juggernaut. Russell pursues the headmaster until Colossus, who had first refused to help due to Deadpool's murderous ways, arrives to distract the Juggernaut.
I want to go back to the whole him as the baby thing was hilarious. Like when all of them show up and they're making jokes at his expense, which I thought was funny. But the scene where Cable shows up and he does the basic instinct, the move by him crossing his legs, his baby legs, he's revealing his basic instinct. I just thought that scene was so cool.
I remember the person next to me in the theater, him and I were both just losing it for like 10 minutes. Just laughing our asses off at that basic instinct scene, to be honest with you, when he keeps on crossing his legs and everything. And it was just fantastic. That scene alone, they had definitely topped the first movie whenever it was just his arms. Now with his legs and everything else. It was just perfectly well done. Yeah.
And then Cable was asking him for help and he's putting on his chapstick, very like gay-like. And they're like, "Wow, you asked me that while you put on chapstick like that," or whatever. And then he gets up and shakes his hand. He's like, "Oh God," and he's like tries to hug him or whatever. But then they go to the car sequence. And I think in the unrated version, enhanced that him talking about some sexual thing, and then him mentioning more inappropriate stuff. And then Kamino's like, "Damn, I should have gone to college." I'm like, yeah, well, I didn't go to college either. So it's just the two. They're just riffing. They're just bantering back and forth. I'm like, hey, I'm not a racist, you dumb F, or whatever. And then, and he tries to get Colossus to come help him. So he's trying to say anything to him by playing Peter Gabriel. to have him come out, and then he's like, well, like he's like, and Cape Colossus is like, no, I'll be like a disgrace. I'll be disgraced and stuff. He's like, well, and then Wade gives him tells him the automatic. So Wade's suit is fixed. You see the duct tape on it. And he's like, well, you hang out at Chateau Diversion while we go get a fuck on or whatever. It's just like him laying that one, and then the unrated, and then it shows Russell getting a new suit, and they go to like the big and tall section, and then you hear a fire. So obviously Friar Fist like destroyed a building or something. He's like, I'm sorry they didn't have your size. And then they show up at the master's house, and he's like, oh hey, what's up with that bear? That's my daughter, you dumb fuck, or whatever. I'm like, my dead father, my dead daughter, you dumb fuck. He's like, oh okay, let's make the chimichanga. So in the theatrical version, that sequence where they're running, it's a different song. In the other one, it's another kind of like a country western kind of song that when they're running. Again, they keep adding more stuff, and then he, of course, makes the Thanos joke because Rowan just became Thanos. He's like, "Come on, Thanos, you're gonna have a job." So he's like, he grabs him by the neck. I'm like, okay, that's the one that pisses him off. And then Wade gets stabbed in the head. And anytime Wade gets stabbed in the head, he gets all sex crazed and loopy. The unrated version enhances that sequence with Colossus so much more. And it's just you got a lot of the references in the theatrical version of him doing like the scissoring and then the two tips. This one, he's pretending to give him like he's becoming gay. He's like, all right, give me a B. I want a BJ, and he's like doing the reference of that. Then he gets down on his pants. It gets down on the pants. Like gets down and bends over and starts trying to take Colossus' pants off.
Yeah, I remember that part. I forgot. To be honest with you, that part got me this time than any other time that I've watched it. Because don't forget, I haven't seen this movie since the theaters, and also I've watched it maybe 1 or 2 times after that. So viewing it this time, it just escalated the humor even more for me. Yeah, because I haven't seen it so much.
I mean, this adds so much humor to that sequence, and it's just so funny. Like, and then because like he got sick, he was pretty crazed when he was trying to do pretend to do stuff to Vanessa when he's all loopy. But this one just adds to the effect of Colossus. Another little funny reference: Ryan Reynolds actually did the voice to Juggernaut, and I think he did the motion capture too.
Yeah.
So I figured so a lot of that was Ryan Reynolds' voice for Juggernaut as well. I was like, I'm gonna so that fight sequence was great. Oh, CGI battle sequence, it's gonna be great. And then Domino goes in to save the kids. And then the song in the background's holy shit balls. Like it's like make it all scary and fiery and all that stuff, which just adds more to the funniness to it. And then Cable and Deadpool are taking out all the pedophiles. It's like, oh, you know how it means we're great buddies means we're taking out pedophiles together. Like, he's like, do you have a gun? No. I'm just going to use this brick then.
And then at that point, though, too, we actually get the Juggernaut and Deadpool fight and everything, too.
Yeah, we get that fight briefly, and then when Wade tries to, like, cut open his helmet, and then they destroys his swords, and that's how Wade becomes loopy, because he gets stabbed in the head. With gets stabbed in the head with the metal pipe. It was like, or gate or whatever. That was because he was briefly fighting Juggernaut, but it wasn't that big of a fight. It was more Domino and Cable trying to do it until Colossus got there.
Right, and then at that point, though, too, this is also when, he picks up Cable's, his gun, and then he decides he's going to try to go back in time and change things.
I think that was like he was trying to I think that's after
yeah.
He was trying to talk Russell down, and he's like, you got 10 seconds, do it. And then so Wade decides, you know what, he's trying to be like, I've been in your shoes, I've been inside you. that came out wrong. And then he's like, then he puts the collar on. He's like, all right, going for one for the marbles. Kill me. Pretty much, he's telling Russell, kill me. And then of course, Cable's being like, no, I gotta kill him. I'm a kid killer. So then they have the whole slow motion sequence, and the music playing in the background is that the song that that's played like pretty much when Russell kills Cable's family. So and it was all in slow motion. So Wade gets shot in slow motion. Oh, please tell me they got that in slow motion. Go ahead. Sorry, John.
Yeah. No. You're good. And then, I also like I know we talked about the Juggernaut fight, but then he also gets electrocuted into the pool.
Yes.
And everything too. I thought that was actually funny.
Yeah, and then you got Yokio and Negasonic teaming up to take on the Juggernaut, and just Wade's like fascination with Yokio. Bye, Yokio. Like this, so he's always so nice to her, but it's like, oh, Wade seems nice. Just take a minute. It'll sink in how he's not so great. And Wade's just lingering on the death effect and like, hey guys, come on, Colossus, say fuck.
Come on, just say it. Just say
it. And he's like, oh, you're going to hell. And he's like just saying his goodbyes, and then he thinks he's dying. He's like, oh well, no, that's the sun. You don't want to look into the sun. And then he just won't die. And then he gets the reunition with Vanessa, which I thought was a really cool sequence how they filmed that. And then so in the unrated version, they changed up the song too. In the theatrical version, it's "Take on Me" is played while he's hanging out with Vanessa for that short time before Cable decides to, you know what, go back in time to save him. But in the movie, in the unrated version, Ashes is playing again, which is kind of fitting because he's covered in ashes. I'm like, oh, it might be Peter Parker he's covered in. I don't know. And then Vanessa's like, you can't go. We're like, wait, what do you mean I can't go? Your family needs you. What family? You'll find out. And then this the funny joke again. Another difference. He says, "Don't fuck Elvis," and she goes, "This is the theatrical. Don't fuck Colossus." What? And this one, she says, he's like, "Don't fuck Elvis." She goes, "I already did." What?
And then also too, there's also something else that winds up happening too that I try to remember too.
That Domino kills all the pedophiles.
Yeah, she winds up killing all the pedophiles, and then also too, this is also another thing that winds up happening. Dopefender winds up killing.
The master,
the headmaster, instead of Russell.
Yeah.
And then also too, remember whenever everybody thought he was dead because of the cancer.
Yeah.
Because at that point he decided to sacrifice himself and put the collar back on.
Yeah.
And so he winds up acting like he's dying. And things like that. I thought that was actually pretty funny. I don't know if you remember that exact quote on that.
I think the last one he's like, he's saying, he's singing the Papa, Can You Hear Me? Do you want to build a snowman? And then that's the one where he dies. Like, oh no, like that's the son. Like, wow, Stynus is so hard. It's taken a long time for him to kill him. And then the bullet wound that killed him. And then he's like this. I forgot the exact quotes, but in that, and then he came. I was like, and they did the review. I was like, oh wow, somebody got handsy. Somebody swiped right when he's putting the coin back in to the in DeadPool's right in his pocket where he gets shot at. And then he's like, you're Bear. You used your fuel. You did it for me. And he goes, I did not do it for you. Yeah, you did. I'm gonna flip a coin. And heads, you did it for me. Tails, you did it for me. I'm not gonna look because I know you did it for me. Let's just get this damn collar off. And then Russell's like, wait, I have an idea. And he's using the shank to get it off. And like, oh, we need a code. Try 7. It's not just gonna work with one number and 7 work. God, that's just lazy writing.
Right. It kind of actually reminds you of Cut the Blue Wire with the bombs and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, it's the blue wire. And it's just like that kind of concept. And instead it winds up being just like the code 7 for the collar, and that was it.
Yeah. Then he goes and he's talking to Colossus China. He's like, I don't know how to thank you, but I do know how to hug. So he's talking to him like, that's right. get it in there, like get in here, tip to tip, and he feels something like, is there a knife in my dick? There's a knife in your dick. Okay, I'm just gonna back away. And he's like, come on, Russell, let's go home. So that's when they're walking. The headmaster, you're all gonna burn in hell. And then Cable was like, well, let's look inside. You're so perv. It's like, and then Deadpool's being the one that's being the calm one, like, because Deadpool would be the one to kill him. He's like, no, he's gonna have his time. Let's get out of here and walk. And deep down, he knew. He's like, dude, I couldn't keep a straight face because I heard you from 30, pretty far away. I heard you coming, so. Wade knew he was going to get ran over by the taxi driver. He's like,
Joe Penner. Yeah.
Joe Penner, you like, courage, motherfucker.
And then after that winds up happening, this is the scene that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Between Negasonic Teenage Warhead and her girlfriend Yokio.
Yeah.
They repair Cable's time traveling device for Deadpool, and he winds up going back in time.
Yeah.
Vanessa's alive. X-Force member is alive. Then kills both X-Men Origins Wolverine's versions of Deadpool and actor, and he even kills his own self as Ryan Reynolds when he was getting ready to play Green Lantern.
Yeah. So I think before I get into that, I want to get into like the banter between Negasonic and the end part. It's like yes, it's okay. We're X-Men. No, we're X-People. He's like, no, you're exhausting. Huh. Hans. By Yokio, and he does the swan. The time swap portion was hilarious. Like, I mean, that was probably one of the best post-credit sequences they've done. Like the whole, like him going back in time, and then the him saving him stopping Wolverine. But like stopping the Deadpool version, like or Deadpool X-Men Origin Wolverine one, him shoot him in the face, shoot him in the head, and he goes, "Oh, hey," like I said, "Hey," just like in the original like theatrical, he's like, "Hey," just pointing up the timeline. He's unloading his clip in the really bad Deadpool. In the unrated version, he goes and says, "Hey, Wolvie, your buddy Wade's gonna come and ask you a question. He's gonna come ask you." Like you're getting close to hanging up your boots. Wade's gonna come and ask you to join him for one more time, and you're gonna say yes. And Hugh Jackman's like, okay, like what's going on? And then the line that Ryan says in the original is like, "Welcome to the big leagues, kid." And then he go and then that was the one where he gets shot in the face. The other one's like, picture perfect, and then he gets shot in the face. But the unrated one adds another two scenes to it. Wade goes back in time into this, and you see this nursery, and you see this old lady and with all the babies. Wade goes in there's like, "Oh, hi, little guy," and like, "Hi, little guy," and he's like saying there, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get your sign right," and like that. Turns out the baby, he's in there. He's like, "Oh man, it's so hard to kill you. I just can't kill you." He went back in time, and that was Adolf Hitler. This is with him as a baby, and him making a reference like, "Oh, you already got the salute ready." I'm like, it's just so hard to it's just so hard to kill you. And then he couldn't do it, and then he comes back in the second scene. I'm like, "Oh man, you're like, no wonder why you're so built up anger. It's because you got because your ass smells like Adolf Hitler. That's right. It's fitting." And he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna come back with my buddy Cable because he loves killing kids." And that's how that second post credit scene ends. He was sent in time to kill Hitler.
That, to be honest with you, that was one of my favorite moments of Deadpool 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah, in the this isn't in the theatrical version, so don't go looking for it because it's not there. This is only in the unrated version. Him going back and kill Hitler.
Right, but yeah, this movie is just as good as the first one. I really had a lot of fun watching this one.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, because with sequels and everything else, you're not sure how they're going to actually do, and this one actually tops everything.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, it adds more humor to it. Like, we got the origin story out of it, so we don't have to worry about the characters. Who are these guys? You introduce Cable, but that's okay. You introduce Cable, and you still got him to introduce him in a sense. And
And
then
they touched on his origin a little bit,
yeah,
so that helped.
yeah, and yeah. So so they did everything they need. So the action was great, great action sequences. Then again, you got a really good action director, David Leitch, to take over on this one. And he's done some really good action movies. So the stunts were great. The humor was just as funny. Like they one up themselves in this one, and this is like, it was a great sequel. I like this one better than the first. I'm not saying the first one's bad. First one's awesome. I just enjoyed this second one so much more.
Yeah, the second one is just so much better. But like I said, I saw this movie twice in theaters. I saw the first one twice in theaters as well. These movies just keep on getting better and better every single time when you go on ahead and watch it, which is great. But yeah, with that, is there anything else that you wanted to say as far as?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
As far as this one goes.
No, I think I covered everything. I mean, I mentioned all the moments. This was great. It's a funny movie. It's if you haven't seen Deadpool 2, I would watch it. Probably watch the theatrical run first, so you can get an understanding of what's going on, and then after you watch the theatrical one, watch the unrated run. Don't go right into the unrated one. Sure, it fills in more gaps, but I think if you watch it the first time without knowing the unrated stuff, watch the theatrical one first, then enhance the second viewing with the unrated one, because I think you're just going to enjoy it a lot better. And then we don't need to talk about the PG-13 one, because that's just this Deadpool 2 just toned down with the scenes from like making fun of the Princess Bride.
Yeah, I didn't even see to be honest with you, I didn't even see the PG-13 one to actually do anything. So with that being
I did. It doesn't add anything. Like the sequences with him and God, I can't think of the guy's name. That was the kid anyway. It's funny because he kidnaps the kid, and he's wearing the same outfit from the Princess Bride, and he's like, and then there's random moments talking to him like, it's great. But him like it's just they're just one off each other, and just Deadpool's acting like the grandfather from Princess Bride. I mean, you don't need to watch the whole movie. You can probably find in the moments of between Fred Savage. There we go. You can just find the moments of Fred Savage and Wade just interacting with each other on YouTube, and then you just pretty much got the Once Upon a Time in Deadpool, Once Upon a Deadpool in a sense.
Right. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for us for the show today and everything. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Tune in on Tuesday and everything, because I'm going to have Jay Wade on from Go Get That Rose. And I'm also going to go on and have Sarah back on the show for that. And we're going to be doing the Bachelor movie review. This is going to be starring Chris O'Donnell. It's not going to be the reality show that I'm reviewing. It's going to be the Chris O'Donnell movie from 2000 or 1999 that I'm going to be reviewing. Then on the 28th, I'm going to have another review that I'm doing with Nicole, and that is going to be Rain Man. We're finishing off our reviews for mental health, and I figured what better way to do it and everything is to do a movie on Rain Man with starring Tom Cruise. That's going to, of course, start at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time in the evening hour. And then, of course, that's also going to, then, of course, on the 25th, it's going to be at the same time as well for Jay Wade and Sarah as well. And then Luke will actually be on the show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central Time, at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. We're going to be doing our Good Will Hunting review. So those are all the things that we have going on over here for right now at Movie Lovers Unite. I hope that you guys enjoyed the show. Another thing too, guys, is if you guys want to go on ahead and listen to an audio-only podcast, go on ahead and check that out at wherever you guys get your podcast from. If you guys want to donate to the show, how do you guys do that? Just go on ahead, head over to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. Then, of course, if you guys want to, go on ahead and follow us at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, underneath the same name, of course, on Instagram and on Pinterest as well. Then, you guys can go on ahead and follow me on Stereo at Movie Lovers Unite over there. If you want to go ahead and email me, all you have to do is just go to movieloversunite@gmail.com, and then you guys can also go ahead and follow me on Stereo at Movie Lovers Unit over there, and of course on Twitter. So those are all the places that you guys can reach me at, and always until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, can't wait to do this again, and bye-bye.